Samsy, Samsy. Hey guys, how's it going? We got story time with Ronnie. And what's a Ronnie? Ronnie's a 2016 Newmar-Cummins, model number 4037. Today's story, we're going to continue on with Arabian Nights, part 6 for us. And eventually I'll talk about them solar panel thingies. So we're at Rolf C. Hoyer, Apache Sitgreaves National Forest. It's a national forest campground. It's actually a fairly large one, several loops, as you were. Still not paved ground, so that's good. No dump or anything at the sites themselves. Just the campsite, nice level ground, that kind of thing. Nice gravel. You heard big old Ronnie start up there. We're gonna be heading from here. We're gonna hang a left out of the campground here, and we're gonna boogie up 373. We're gonna hang a left and get to Sholo, and we're gonna kind of veer off to the right at Sholo and head towards Payson and get down the hill back to Mesa, where I thought it was warm here where I was at the campground here. It was nearly 80 degrees during the day, and I was like, oh, but it's 117 in Mesa today, the day that I'm traveling into town, so just not looking forward to doing it, kind of thing. So anyway, this drive, you heard Big Ronnie start up. I made some adjustments to that camera that I got sitting back there on the ladder. You'll see me there. Hey, how you doing there, Simsy? Walking around with my baseball bat, look, listen, and smell kind of thing. The camera, again, Garmin Verb sitting up there. And we'll just get over to the dump station. I'll let you have that view for that long at least, and other than that I'll just kind of sprinkle it in here and there. Alright, let's get back to this story. This is Arabian Nights, not for children, because we got adult subjects here. So Arabian Nights part 6 for us. When we left it off, of course, there was a genie involved, and we was, I just popped it up on high idle there, so we'll finish building air, and off we'll go. But okay, so we were involved with a genie, and there was a merchant, and the story, it just goes round and round and round. You're gonna have to go back and check it out, because to recap it, I'll just say there was a genie, and that could put you pretty much in any part of any one of the stories. So I guess that's not too helpful. So okay, there was a genie. Oh, okay, here, this will help. The merchant was eating some dates, and when he threw the date stone away, he hit this genie's kid right square in the chest, killed him. So the genie came over there to kick his ass, right? He said, like, I gotta kill you. And but the guy pled for his life and said, look, I owe a lot of people some money. I got the money, but I never thought I was going to die today. So you give me a year's time, and I will take care of all of my business. And I promise I will come back here and you can kill me. And the genie said, you know what? I believe you. And sure enough, the guy did all of those things. He even got a surrogate to come and live with them for a year as a guardian kind of thing, because he knew he was going to die. So he's fully ready. He grabbed up his shroud and said goodbye to everybody and went walking over to meet this Ifrit. And while he was sitting there waiting, there was 3 old guys, one at a time, came up to him, and I'm pretty sure they said, Sheikh, man, I got a you know, that's on me. I really gotta figure out how to say that word. So let's just call it shake for now, and if it's horribly wrong when I check it, I will come back and it'll we'll do a voiceover on the voiceover of the voiceover, and we'll see how it lands. All right. So the first shake story was about the gazelle. His wife was turned into a gazelle because she just was not very nice and did some shitty things to the guy's son. So again, adult content. I might even swear. I won't mean to. I don't even know that I'm doing it, but there it is. All right. The second shake's story. Let's get to this. Okay. So the genie guy was going to kill him, and these three old guys, they're like sitting there and they're wailing away with him. Oh, no, don't kill him. We don't even know the guy, but he seems like a good guy. And then the first shake there, he said, you know what? If I tell you this great story, Mr. Genie guy, and if you like it, how about you give me 1/3 of his blood? And the genie said, well, tell me your story. We'll see how it goes. And he told him his story about this gazelle, how he ended up with this gazelle on a chain, on a leash. And the genie said, you know, that is a pretty darn good story. I grant you 1/3 of his blood. And so the second old guy, he's got two greyhound dogs, 2 black greyhound dogs with him. And we's about to hear what his deal is, because he said, if I tell you a story and you think it's good, can I also get 1/3 of his blood? And the genie said, absolutely. I will give you 1/3 of his blood if you got a good story. Tell on. Okay, here we go. The second shake story. Oh, see, we ain't never going to get to this story. We just came off a high idle there. We'll just purr on out of the campground here. There's just this campsite here was a little bit snug. I had to tag the tree on the far side as I'm coming out with a mirror, because you know there's a dead old branch there, and why not? Not quite like that, but that's the way I had to get out. So, and I tagged it when I got in too, and I thought it would break off, but it didn't. It stayed there for the next guy to hit. So, you know, big dead old branches have really could be trimmed off. I don't know. I guess I could have done it myself. Don't let nobody see you doing that one in a national forest. All right. Know then, O Lord of the Kings of the John, that these 2 dogs are my brothers, and I am the third. Now, when our father died and left us a capital, and hang on a second, I got all mixed up there. It's difficult to see. I can't see, can't read, can't see, I can't hear, too fat to fly. Anyway, all right, here we go. 2 brothers, okay. And now, okay, yeah, so here's the guy with the 2 dogs, okay? These are my 2 brothers, these 2 dogs, and I am the third. Now, when our father died, he left us a capital of 3,000 gold pieces. I opened a shop with my share and bought and sold therein. And in like guise did my 2 brothers, each setting up a shop. But I had been in business no long, while before the elder sold his stock for 1,000 denaries. And after buying outfit and merchandise, went his ways to foreign parts. He was absent 1 whole year with the caravan. But one day, as I sat in my shop, behold, a beggar stood before me asking alms. And I said to him, Allah, open thee another door. Whereupon he answered, weeping the while, I am so changed that thou knowest me not. Then I looked at him narrowly, and lo, it was my brother. So I rose to him and welcomed him. Then I seated him in my shop and put questions concerning his case. All right, let's take a look at what we're doing here. I think we're going to the dump station, and I don't make you endure that. I just kind of get there and leave again. And there's a Class C in there. I think they're doing like some kind of NASCAR dump station thing, and he's at the dump station. You'll see. All right, so here we go. I'm asking him. I seated him in my shop and put questions concerning his case. Ask me not, he answered. My wealth is a waste, and my state hath waxed unstated. So I took him to the Hammam bath and clad him in a suit of my own and gave him lodging in my house. Moreover, after looking over the accounts of my stock in trade and the profits of my business, I found that industry had gained me 1,000 dinars, while my principal, the head of my wealth, amounted to 2,000. So I shared the whole with him, saying, Assume that thou hast made no journey abroad, but hast remained at home, and be not cast down by thine ill luck. He took the share in great glee, and opened for himself a shop, and matters went on quietly for a few nights and days. But presently my second brother, yon other dog, also setting his heart upon travel, sold off what he could, his goods and stock in trade he had, and albeit we tried to say to him he would not be stayed, he laid in an outfit for the journey, and fared forth with certain wayfarers. Oh, let me take a look here. Oh yeah, we going in there to do the big thing. Oh, so this is a fairly nice, busy campground. It's got a big dump station there. It's a two-holer, but you can see these are the hosts, the camp hosts. That's the shower building and all of that stuff right there. And I'm betting it's great, most of the time. But you're literally within 100 feet of the dump station. So when you're working, when you go to work, just know your campsite could be right beside the shower station. You could have jackasses coming up and beating on your door. Hey, there's no hot water, at whatever time. So, and then you got the whiff of that, which I'm sure happens. It has to, right? All right, so we did the dump thing. We filled up with water. You saw the Class C there. Now watch, we'll get around here, and he's like racing around. I think he might be putting water in the black tank and then kind of swooshing it around by doing laps or something. But you never know. Things happen. The campground. What happens at the campground stays at the campground. All right, let's get back to this story. We're going to get on the big road here in a second. And, you see, I pop up that rear view, and I got that camera placement in a better spot now. It's not as noisy. So we'll see how good it does. Y'all be free to tell me. How do you like the position of that? Do you like it there, or do you like it down in the left corner? I can't tell. I can't tell. I started putting it up there, and it might be good. I got to get rid of that. I got to start being not so lazy about that Garmin branding in there. All right. Ask me not. Yeah, okay, we did that. He took the great share with glee. Oh, right. So the second brother now, he decided that, you know what, I want to go and goof around too, travel the world and all that. And the other brothers are like, oh, don't do it. But they couldn't stop him. So off he went. He laid in an outfit for the journey and fared forth with certain wayfarers. after an absence of a whole year, he came back to me, even as my elder brother had come back. And when I said to him, O my brother, did I not dissuade thee from travel? He shed tears and cried, Oh, my brother, this be destiny's decree. Here I am, a mere beggar, penniless and without a shirt to my back. Huh. So I led him to the bath, O genie, and clothing him in new clothes of my own wear, I went with him to my shop and served him with meat and drink. Furthermore, I said to him, Oh, my brother. All right, out of the campground, up the hill. It's a nice, pretty little drive. I really like just kind of going slow. So fortunately, there's nobody around. I think it's a 50-mile-an-hour road, and you can see I'll barely, I won't even bother until I get some engine temperature up and that kind of thing. And just idling around the campground doesn't give you a really good feel. So, you get going, and everything looks good. We'll throw the coal to her, All right, here we go. Furthermore, I said to him, Oh, brother, I am wont to cast up my shop accounts at the head of every year, and whatso I shall find of surplusage is between me and thee. So I proceeded, O Ifrit, to strike a balance, and finding 2,000 dinars profit, I returned praises to the Creator, be he extolled and exalted, and made over one half to my brother, keeping the other half to myself. Thereupon he busied himself with opening a shop, and on the wise we abode many days. After a time my brothers began pressing me to travel with them. We lost all of our money, and now we want to lose yours too. But I, refused, saying, What gain ye by travel voyage that I should gain thereby? As I would not give ear to them, we went back each to his own shop, where we bought and sold as before. They kept urging me to travel for a whole 12 months, but I refused to do so till full 6 years were past and gone, when I consented with these words, O my brothers, here I am, I, your companion of travel. Now let me see what monies you have by you. I found, however, that they did not do it, having squandered their substance in high diet and drinking and carnal delights. Yet I spoke not a word of reproach. So far from it, I looked over my shop accounts once more, and sold what goods and stock in trade were mine, and, finding myself the owner of 6,000 ducats, I gladly proceeded to divide that sum in halves, saying to my brothers, These 3,000 gold pieces are for me, and for you to trade withal, adding, Let us bury the other moiety underground, that it may be of service in case any harm befall us, in which case each take 1,000 wherewith to open shops. Gonna open up some more shops. All right, let's take a look at this road. Oh yeah, we still just putting along. I think we get a little bit more speed going here now. Oh, the burn. See, now that 1 month ago, the place was, threatened to be closed down. The town of Guerrero was going to go up. Springerville was ready to burn. They were evacuating everything over there, And it went through there pretty quick. It looks like the trees will probably stay, but the grass, but if that's the way it's supposed to happen right there. If it goes through quick and clean like that, the trees kind of stay. The problem up here is a lot of the trees are infested with the bark beetle, and so they get dry, and the tree doesn't have the kind of protection that it needs from that fire. And then once one or two of them get up there, the heat gets a little bit stronger, and the trees kind of explode, and they can send sparks a long way. So it really gets things going a lot worse. And then the trees, they're gone. So I'm not sure. We'll have to see what next year brings. If the signs go up saying, look out, these trees might fall over because of a forest fire. And they will. All right, so we're almost at the 260 here. Oh, right. So we're going to hang a left here on this 260. And we're heading towards McNary, Pine Top. It's kind of the other way into Sholo. But like doing this part with the scooter, yeah, that's not something I want to do very often, because as soon as you make this turn here, you start going uphill, and it's only about a half a mile here where you start really going uphill. So the little scooter, I could clamp the throttle to just clamp it to the bar there, and I might get 40 mile an hour. This is, close to 9 to 10,000 feet, and it's only a 150cc scooty. So it kind of knocks her down on her knees, and I don't even bother trying to make it clamping the bar down like that, the throttle down. I don't even bother, because if it 3/4 throttle isn't doing it for you, full throttle's just not going to do it either. When you hit the torque peak, that's it. So here with Big Ronnie, you can see I threw up the rear camera there again, and the elevation just climbs, and I think we put on about 1,000 feet here in the next couple of miles. So we get to the top up there, and we'll switch views around again and back and forth, and we'll kind of goof around a little bit. And okay, let's get back to the story. I completely forgot where I was at now. I got carried away there with that thing there. So a whole 12 months, but I refused. No, we did all that. Oh, here we go. No. Oh, master, no, that didn't look right either. Both replied, right? No. Hi and I. Oh, okay, yeah. So it turns out, after 6 years, we're ready to go. We're ready to go traveling, and the brothers are broke again. So he had to fund them up. And these 3,000 gold pieces are for me and for you to trade with all. Adding, let's bury the other moiety underground, that it may be of service in case of any harm befall us, in which case shall take 1,000 wherewith to open shops. Both replied, right is thy reckoning. And I gave to each one his 1,000 gold pieces, keeping the same sum for myself, to wit, 1,000 dinars. With we then got ready suitable goods, and hired a ship, and having embarked our merchandise, proceeded on our voyage. Day following day, a full month, after which we arrived at a city. We were sold our venture, and for every piece of gold we gained 10. And as we turned again to our voyage, we found on the shore of the sea a maiden clad in worn and ragged gear, and she kissed my hand and said, O master, is there kindness in thee and charity? I can make thee a fitting return for them. I answered, even so. Truly in me are benevolence and good works, even though thou render me no return. Then she said, take me to wife, O my master, and carry me to thy city. For I have given myself to thee, so do me a kindness, and I am of those who be meet for good works and charity. I will make thee a fitting return for these, and be thou not shamed by my condition. When I heard her words, my heart yearned towards her, in such sort as willed it Allah be extolled and exalted, and took her and clothed her and made ready for her a fair resting place in the vessel, and honorably entreated her. So we voyaged on, and my heart became attached to her with exceeding attachment, and I was separated. Okay. And I was separated from neither night nor day. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The big snow fences. Yeah, we're basically at the top here now. And, well, I think I flashed the gauge view up in there so you can see where we ended up on a temperature. And no problems here, that's for sure. I did another video where we're back closer to the valley there, and we're going up Mount Ord again, and wow, it's hot. But much hotter on the other side. So yeah, not looking forward to getting down there again, that's for sure. Yep. All right. And I paid more regard to her than to my brothers. Then they were estranged from me, and waxed jealous of my wealth and the quantity of my merchandise I had, and their eyes were opened covetously upon all of my property. So they took counsel to murder me and seize my wealth, saying, Let us slay our brother, and all his monies will be ours. Wow. So yeah, once you take away that rear view, that's what you hear in the diesel pusher up front there. You just get that popping and cracking and creaking there. But other than that, you know, it's just so nice, so nice. All right, and all his monies will be ours. And Satan made this deem seem fair in their sights. So when they found me in privacy, and I sleeping by my wife's side, they took us both up and cast us into the sea. My wife awoke, startled from her sleep, and forthright, becoming an Ifrita, she bore me up and carried me to an island and disappeared for a short time. But she returned in the morning and said, Here am I, thy faithful slave, who hath made thee due recompense. For I bore thee up in the waters and saved thee from death by command of the Almighty. Know that I am a Jinnah, and as I saw thee, my heart loved thee by will of the Lord. For I am a believer in Allah and in his apostle, whom heaven bless and preserve. Thereupon I came to thee conditioned as thou sawest me, and thou didst marry me. And see now, I have saved thee from sinking. But I am angered against thy brothers, and assuredly I must slay them. When I heard her story, I was surprised, and thanking her for all she had done, I said, But as to slaying my brothers, this must not be. Then I told her the tale of what had come to pass with them from the beginning of our lives to the end. And on hearing it, quoth she, This night will I fly as a bird over them, and will sink their ship and slay them. Quoth I, Allah upon thee, do not thus. For the proverb saith, O thou who doest good to him that cloth evil, leave the evildoer to his evil deeds. Moreover, they are still my brothers. But she rejoined, By Allah, there is no help for it, but I slay them. I humbled myself before her for their pardon. Whereupon she bore me up and flew me away with me until at last she set me down on the terrace roof of my own house. I opened the doors and took up what I had hidden in the ground, and after I had saluted the folk, I opened my shop and bought me merchandise. Now, when night came, I went home, and there I saw these 2 hounds tied up. And when they sighted me, they arose and whined and fawned upon me. But ere I knew what happened, my wife said, These 2 dogs be thy brothers. I answered, And how hath does this thing by them? And she rejoined, I sent a message to my sister, and she entreated them on this wise, Nor shall these 2 be released from their present shape till 10 years shall have passed. And now I have arrived at this place, and on my way to my wife's sister, that she may deliver them from this condition, after their having endured it for 60 years. As I was wending onwards, let's take a look. Oh yeah, we pulled over at the brake check area. So that road we just, right there was the road to Big Lake, and that's the one we normally get, well, it's the one I always take to go to Wynn Campground. And that'll be the next video, I'm guessing. Okay, so down the hill we go, and this from right here all the way to Pine Top is downhill, and you're basically just letting it coast or on the engine brake pretty much the whole way. You got to hit the brakes to get through McNary, but yeah, it's oh, and there's just flowers and the whole bit. Yeah, there's my gauge view. I pop up every now and again. I think because the Verb is probably got a dead battery. All right. As wending onwards, okay, and having endured it for 60 years, as I was wending onwards, I saw this young man, who acquainted me with what had befallen him, and I determined not to fare hence until I should see what might occur between thee and him. Such is my tale. Then said the genie, Surely this is a strange story, and therefore I give thee a 3rd portion of his blood and his crime. Thereupon quoth the 3rd sheikh, the master of the mare mule, to the genie, I can tell thee a tale more wondrous than those 2. So thou grant me the remainder of his blood and of his offense. And the genie answered, So be it. Then the old man began the 3rd sheikh's story. Okay, the 3rd sheikh's story. Oh yeah. Yeah, I throw that little view in there so you can see where we're at, and then, yeah, that dangerous crosswinds. What? All right, the 3rd sheikh story. Know, old sultan and head of the Jan, that this mule was my wife. Now, it so happened that I went forth and was absent 1 whole year, and when I returned from my journey, I came to her by night, and saw a black slave lying with her on the carpet bed, and they were talking and dallying and laughing and kissing and playing the close buttock game. When she saw me, she rose and came hurriedly at me with a guglet of water and muttering spells over it, she besprinkled me and said, "Come forth from this thy shape into the shape of a dog." And I became on the instant a dog. She drove me out of the house and ran through the doorway, nor ceased running until I came to a butcher's stall, where I stopped and began to eat what bones were there. Well, that's nice. Well, where was he at? So I went forth and was absent for a whole year. So he was gone for a year. And when he got back, the wife was not alone, and she chased him out, turned him into a dog, and chased him off. Well, guess what? You should have come home. All right, let's just... So, when the stall owner saw me, he took me and led me into his house. But as soon as his daughter had sight of me, she veiled her face from me, crying out, "Dost thou bring men to me, and dost thou come in with them to me?" Her father asked, "Where is the man?" And she answered, "This dog is a man whom his wife hath ensorcelled, and I am able to release him." When her father heard her words, he said, "Allah upon thee, O my daughter, release him." So she took a guglet of water, and, after uttering words over it, sprinkled upon me a few drops, saying, "Come forth from that form into thy former form." And I returned to my natural shape. Then I kissed her hand and said, "I wish thou wouldst transform my wife, even as she transformed me." Therefore she gave me some water, saying, "As soon as thou see her asleep, sprinkle this liquid upon her, and speak what words thou heardest me utter. So shall she become whatever thou desirest." I went to my wife. I found her fast asleep, and while sprinkling the water upon her, I said, "Come forth from what form into the form of a mare mule." So she became on the instant a she-mule, and she it is whom thou seest with thine eyes, O Sultan and head of the kings of the Jann. Then the genie turned towards her and said, "Is this soothed?" And she nodded her head and replied by signs, "Indeed, 'tis the truth, for such is my tale, and this is what hath befallen me." When the third old man told a tale to the genie more wondrous than the two preceding, the genie marveled with exceeding marvel, and shaking with delight cried, "Lo, I have given thee the remainder of the mutant merchant's punishment, and for thy sake have I released him." Thereupon the merchant embraced the old men and thanked them, and the sheikhs wished him joy on being saved, and fared forth each one for his own city. Okay, we got a little bit of something at the bottom here. Let's see what this says. "Yet this tale is not more wondrous than the fisherman's story," quoth Shahrazad. Remember her? Asked the king, "What is the fisherman's story?" And she answered by relating the tale of the fisherman and the genie. Always a genie. Okay, so this is Shahrazad. Come on now, let's get that right. Shahrazad. And now she's married to the king that kills everybody, and this is that was the first story she had told him to kind of keep his interest. So he's like, "Oh wow, let's hear about the rest of this thing." All right, so let's check out where we're at here. I think we're just cruising up on on the White Mountain Apache Reservation there. There's a casino coming up on the left. Somehow reservations mean casinos. Don't do casinos myself. A lot of people do. I see a lot of people of a certain demographic who saved their money and worked really hard their whole lives. And, you know, like my mom, she would steal the jam packets from the Denny's because that's how, you know, she grew up in the dirty 30s kind of thing. So, you know, you never ever stop trying to pinch and trying to get a little extra. Well, then you turn around and go to the casino and give it to the jack machine thingy. Okay, no sense in that. Don't do that. All right. No, not a big fan of casinos. They're not good for anybody. They're not good for the res. They're not good for anybody. Done. All right, here we go. The Tale of the Fisherman and the Genie. Quoth Shahrazad that night, it hath come to me, O auspicious king, that there was a fisherman, well stricken in years, who had a wife and 3 children, and withal was of poor condition. Now it was his custom to cast his net every day 4 times, and no more. On a day he went forth about noontide to the seashore, where he laid down his basket, and tucking up his shirt and plunging into the water, made a cast with his net, and waited till it settled to the bottom. Then he gathered the cords together and hauled away at it, but found it weighty, and however much he drew it landwards, he could not pull it up. So he carried the ends ashore and drove a stake into the ground and made the net fast to it. Then he stripped and dived into the water all about the net, and left not off working hard until he had brought it up. He rejoiced thereat, and donning his clothes went to the net, where he found in it a dead jackass, which had torn the meshes. Now when he saw it, he exclaimed in his grief, "There is no majesty, and there is no might, save in Allah the Glorious, the Great." Then quoth he, "This is a strange manner of daily bread." And he began reciting in extempore verse. Oh boy. Okay, we're gonna have to do this thing here. I think it's a poem. Okay, anybody that's been listening for a while know that this is just a lawnmower with a dull blade. So here we go. O toiler through the glooms of night in peril and in pain, thy toiling stint for daily bread comes not by might and main. Seest thou not the fisher seek afloat upon the sea his bread, while glimmer stars of night as set in tangled skein? Anon he plungeth in despite the buffet of waves, the while to sight the belying net his eager glances strain, till joying at the night's success, a fish he bringeth home, whose gullet by the hook of fate was caught and cut in twain. When buys that fish of him a man who spent the hours of night, reckless of cold and wet and gloom, in ease and comfort fain. Laud to the Lord who gives to this, to that denies his wishes, and dooms one toil, and catches the prey, and other eat the fishes. Well, I hope you all got that. because I got bits and pieces of it. I'll have to dissect it and think it through and all that. Then, quoth he, up and to it. I am sure of his beneficence, inshallah. So he continued, when thou art seized of evil fate, assume the noble soul's long suffering. 'Tis thy best complain not to the creature. This be plaint from one most ruthful to be ruthlessness. The fisherman, when he had looked at the dead ass, got it free of the toils, and wrung out and spread his net. Then he plunged into the sea, saying, in Allah's name, and made a cast and pulled at it. But it grew heavy and settled down more firmly than the first time. Now he thought that there were fish in it, and he made it fast, and doffing his clothes, went into the water and dived and hailed until he drew it up upon dry land. Then he found in it a large earthen pitcher, which was full of sand and mud. And seeing this, he was greatly troubled, and began repeating these verses. Let me see. Oh, we're right into Pine Top. Let's just take a half a mow here to kind of go through it. Oh, you see, everybody says, oh, you gotta drive in that right-hand lane because that's the slow lane. Guess what? When you're going through town, that doesn't count. Knock it off, you knuckleheads. Get out of that curbside lane, because you can see people with little dogs and stuff, kids and stuff, walk right there. People come nosing out from parking lots. They want to go at the last second, go digging in there. Yeah, that is not the place if you're traveling through town, especially if you're in a big vehicle. Get out of that lane, Mom. Come on. All right, let's take a peek here. Where was that? All right, we're gonna more poems, so that's why I was delaying here. Okay, so he keeps repeating these verses. We're in Pine Top right now, so I'm going along here. We'll get just past the high school kind of thing, and then there's a kind of a unofficial bypass of the city that you can take, and it's just easier. Yeah, it's probably slower. I don't know, maybe there's so many lights in that other one, and it is really starting to get busy, that little stretch between Pine Top and Show Low. I said that 10-15 years ago it was getting busy, but now, good grief. All right, here we go. We kept repeating these verses. Forbear, O troubles of the world, and pardon, and ye nil forbear. I went to seek my daily bread, I find that breadless I must fare. For neither handcraft brings me aught, nor fate allows me to share. How many fools the Pleiades reach, while darkness whelms the wise and ware. So he prayed pardon of Allah, and throwing away the jar, wrung his net and cleansed it, and returned to the sea the third time to cast his net, and waited till it had sunk. Then he pulled at it, and found therein post sherds and broken glass, whereupon he began to speak these verses. Oh, see, over in the right-hand side, and I jumped over there just a little bit too early because I'd kind of forgotten where the turnoff was, and I thought it was coming up. And yeah, I was by myself, so no navigator. But I've done this hundreds of times. I just kind of forgot what was going on. Not really, just you see an opening there, and your brain says you got to be over there. You should think about doing it, and then when you get to that spot, you just like, okay, yeah, I better do it. But truly, I got plenty of time here to get over here, It makes me nervous as all get out, just being over here. You're just looking at it now, and like, oh man, somebody's going to pull out in front of you. Somebody's going to jump out from the side there. Come on, get out of that lane, dummy. All right, where he began to speak these verses. He is to thee that daily bread thou cast, nor loose nor bind, nor pen nor writ avail thee aught, thy daily bread to find. For joy and daily bread are what fate denieth to allow. This soil is sad and sterile ground, while the makes glad the hind. While that makes glad the hind. The shafts of time and the life bear down full many a man of worth, while bearing up to high degree wights of ignoble mind. So come thou, death, for verily life is not worth a straw, when lo the falcon falls with all the mallard wings the wind. No wonder 'tis thou seest how the great of soul and mind are poor, and many a loser carl to height of luck designed. This bird shall overfly the world from east to furthest west, and thou shalt win her every wish, though near she leave the nest. Okay, not bad, eh? Then, raising his eyes heavenward, he said, O God, O my God, verily thou wottest that I cast not my net each day save 4 times. The third is done, and as yet thou hast vouchsafed me nothing. So this time, O my God, design, give me my daily bread. Then, having called on Allah's name, he again threw his net and waded it, sinking and settling. Yeah, there's the unofficial cutoff, and it's all the trucks take it. Okay, sinking and settling, threw his net in, sinking and settling, whereupon he hailed at it, but could not draw it in, for that it was entangled on the bottom. He cried out in his vexation, There is no majesty, and there is no might, save in Allah, and began reciting, Fie on this wretched world, and so it be, I must be whelmed by grief and misery. Thou gladsome be man's lot when dawns the morn. He drains the cup of woe ere eve he see. Yet was I one of whom the world was asked, whose lot is happiest, oft would say 'tis he. Thereupon he stripped and, diving down to the net, busied himself with it till he came to land. Then he opened the meshes and found therein a cucumber-shaped jar of yellow copper, evidently full of something whose mouth was made fast with a leaden cap, stamped with the seal ring of Lord Suleiman, son of David. Allah accept the twain. Seeing this, the fisherman rejoiced and said, If I sell it in the brass bazaar, 'tis worth 10 golden dinars. He shook it, and finding it heavy, continued, Would to heaven I knew what is herein, but I must and will open it, and look to its contents, and store it in my bag, and sell it in the brass market. And, taking out a knife, he worked at the lead till he had loosened it from the jar. Then he laid the cup on the ground, and shook the vase to pour out whatever might be inside. He found nothing in it, where he marveled with an exceeding marvel. But presently there came forth from the jar. Oh, yeah, what do we just bypass Sholo altogether? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I you know, attention deficit disorder kind of thing. Get bored. I've had a few videos already where I'm cruising down the rim, I think, so that's probably the reason why you missed Sholo. But you're here for the story anyway, so we'll just continue on here. But presently there came forth from the jar a smoke which spired heavenwards into ether, whereat he again marveled with mighty marvel, and which trailed along the earth's surface till presently having reached its full height, the thick vapor condensed and became an Ifrit, huge of bulk, whose crest touched the clouds, while his feet were on the ground. His head was as a dome, his hands like pitchforks, his legs long as mass, and his mouth big as a cave. His teeth were like large stones, his nostrils ears, his eyes 2 lamps, and his look was fierce and lowering. Now, when the fisherman saw the Ifrit, his side muscles quivered, his teeth chattered, his spittle dried up, and he became blind about what to do. The old deer in the headlights situation. Upon this, the Ifrit looked at him and cried, "There is no God but the God, and Suleiman is the prophet of God." Presently adding, "O apostle of Allah, slay me not. Never again will I gainsay thee in word nor sin against thee in deed." Quoth the fisherman, "O myriad didst thou say Suleiman the apostle of Allah, and Suleiman is dead some 1,800 years ago, and we are now in the last days of the world? What is thy story? And what is thy account of thyself? And why is the cause of thy entering into this cucurbit?" Cucurbit. I don't know. We'll have to try to figure that one out too. Oh, just take a look at this riding that pretty. All right. We're heading. This is right around Forest Lakes, I think. And I think Forest Lakes, Arizona, is gets the most snow in the whole state.
Wooka wooka.
Oh, wooka wooka, indeed. Yep. All right. Now, when the evil spirit heard the words of the fisherman, quoth he, "There is no God but the God. Be of good cheer, O fisherman." Quoth the fisherman, "Why biddest thou me to be of good cheer?" And he replied, "Because of thy having to die, an ill death in this very hour." Said the fisherman, "Thou deservest for thy good tidings the withdrawal of heaven's protection, and thou, distant one, wherefore thou shoutest thou kill me? And what thing have I done to deserve death? I who freed thee from the jar, and saved thee from the depths of the sea, and brought thee up on dry land." Replied the Ifrit, "Ask of me only what mode of death thou wilt die, and by what manner of slaughter shall I slay thee?" Oh, yeah, so we're about to go down the rim here. I was gonna include, I had moved that verb over inside, and so if I just pulled out the zoom a little bit, I can see the road, the gauges, me sitting in the seat, and me fiddling with the engine brake. And I thought, oh, that might be kind of cool. And then I watched it, and I'm like, ugh, you know, it's just weird. So I might might try to put something together with a little bit of that. I think it's probably my face in there that I don't like to see. Okay, let's go. Quoth the fisherman, how didst thou fit? No, that ain't right. Oh, I lost my spot. Replied, oh boy, that's not gonna work. Okay, here we go. Wax succeed? No. Say on and no. Oh yeah, we just changed the page. That's why I can't figure out where we is. And brought me up on dry land. Yeah. See here, we're going down the hill, and I'm saying medium and high and medium, and I'm just going in between medium and high on the engine brake, and you can see it start to pull down a little harder when I hit high, that kind of thing. But it, yeah. Well, you know, you see it. Okay, so we changed the page here. Okay, replied to Ifrit, ask of me only what mode of death thou wilt die, and by what manner of slaughter shall I slay thee? Rejoined the fisherman, what is my crime, and wherefore such retribution? Quoth the Ifrit, hear my story, O fisherman. And he answered, say on, and be brief in thy saying, for of very sooth my life breath is in my nostrils. Thereupon quoth the genie, know that I am one among the heretical. Okay, that's going to get difficult. The heretical. No. John, and I sinned against Suleiman, heretical. Man, that don't sound right. Heretical? Come on. Heretic. Let's just say heretic. The heretic John, and I sinned against Suleiman. See, this is how original text gets changed over the years. Some dumbass who was translating couldn't say the word, so let's just call it this instead. Nah. Okay. And I sinned against Suleiman, David's son, on the twain be peace. I, together with the famous Shakar al-Jinni, whereupon the prophet sent his minister, Asaph, son of Barkiah. Okay, yeah. Watch this now. I'm going down this hill. Okay, and there's a couple of signs that say, you can't, the right lane's going to end, right? And we've seen it for a while, and I keep looking over there, and okay, and I see I got a spot. I throw on my signal light, and boom, that guy is like right there all of a sudden. He must have been going 70 miles an hour. So, okay, I dig back over, and he's like some kind of medical transport guy or something like that. Anyway, I hope he got that bacterium where he needed to get it to. The stolen bacillus. Oh, that sounds familiar. Where's that from? The stolen bacillus. I wonder what that's all about. Okay, here we go. Who shall release him? Thereupon quoth the genie, no. Breath in my nostrils. Say on and be brief. Yeah, right, because here we go. Thereupon quoth the genie, no, oh right, I am one of the heretic John. I'm going to say heretical, but I can't say tickle. And I sinned against Suleiman, David's son. Yep, okay, shock here, the genie. Whereupon the prophet sent his minister, Asaph, son of Barkiah. Nope, don't know that one. I don't know a lot of these words, and chances are I'm not going to stop and look them up. That's your job. Come on. Whereupon the prophet sent his minister. Oh, I already said that. Brought me against my will, and led me in bonds to him. I, being downcast, despite my nose, and he placed me standing before him like a suppliant. When Suleiman saw me, he took refuge with Allah, and bade me embrace the true faith and obey his behests. But I refused. So, sending for his cucurbit, he shut me up therein, and stopped it over with lead, whereupon he impressed the Most High name, and gave his orders to the Jean, who carried me off and cast me into the midmost of the ocean, where I abode 100 years, during which I said in my heart, Whoso shall release me, him will I enrich forever and ever. But the full century went by, and when no one set me free, I entered upon the second 50, saying, Whoso shall release me free, I entered upon this. For him I will open the hordes of the earth. Still no one set me free, and thus 400 years passed away. Then quoth I, Whoso shall release me, for him will I fulfill 3 wishes. Yet no one set me free. Thereupon I waxed wroth with exceeding wrath, and said to myself, Whoso shall release me from this time forth, him will I slay, and I will give him choice of what death he will die. And now thou hast released me. I give thee full choice of deaths. The fisherman, hearing the words of the Ifrit, said, No way. The guy before me could have got 3 wishes. All of a sudden, I got out of what now? No, give me the 3 wishes. Come on, you got them, give me them. Okay, here's what he actually said. The fisherman, hearing the words of the Ifrit, said, O Allah, the wonder of it, that I have not come to free thee, save in these days, adding, Spare my life, so Allah spare thine, and slay me not, lest Allah set one to slay thee. Replied the contumacious one, There is no help for it, die thou must. So ask me, by way of boon, what matter of death thou wilt die. Albeit thus certified, the fisherman again addressed the Ifrit, saying, Forgive me, this is my death, as a generous reward for having freed thee. And the Ifrit, Surely I would not slay thee, save on account of that same release. O chief of the Ifrits, said the fisherman, I do thee good, and thou requitest me with evil? In very sooth, the old saw leaf not when it saith, We wrought them weal, they met our weal with ill. Such, by my life, is every bad man's labour. To him who benefits unworthy wights shall hap what hap to Amir's neighbour. Now, when the Ifrit heard these words, he answered, No more of this talk. Needs I must kill thee. Upon this the fisherman said to himself, This is a genie, and I am a man to whom Allah hath given a passably cunning wit. So I will now cast about to compass his destruction by my contrivance, and by mine intelligence, even as he took counsel only of his malice and his forwardness. He began by asking the Ifrit, How thou'st indeed resolved to kill me? And receiving for all answer, Even so, he cried, Now, in the most great name, graven on the seal ring of Suleiman, the son of David, peace be with the holy twain, and I question thee on a certain matter.
Wilt thou give me a true answer? The Ifrit replied, Yea. But hearing mention of the most great name, his wits were troubled, and he said with trembling, Ask, and be brief. Quoth the fisherman, How didst thou fit into this bottle, which would not hold thy hand, nor even thy foot, and how came to be large enough to contain the whole of thee? Replied the Ifrit, What, does not believe that I am all there? And the fisherman rejoined, Nay, I will never believe it until I see thee inside with my own eyes. The evil spirit on an instant shook and became a vapor, which condensed and entered the jar little and little, till it was all inside, when, lo, the fisherman in hot haste took the leaden cap with the seal and stoppered therewith the mouth of the jar, and called out to the Ifrit, saying, Ask me, by way of boon, what death thou wilt die. By Allah, I will throw thee into the sea before us, and here will I build me a lodge, and who cometh hither I will warn against fishing, and will say, In these waters beeth an Ifrit who giveth as a last favor a choice of deaths, and fashion of slaughter to the man who saveth him.
And we're still coming down the rim, heading into Star Valley. Yeah, I really like that new camera. Just figure out how to keep it going. Keeps overheating, and I guess it's common, which seems odd. Now, when the Ifrit heard this from the fisherman, he saw himself in limbo. He was minded to escape, but this was prevented by Suleiman's seal. So he knew that the fisherman had cozened him and outwitted him, and he waxed lowly and submissive, and began humbly to say, I did but jest with thee. But the other answered, Thou liest, O vilest of the Ifrits, and meanest of the filthiest. And he set off with the bottle for the seaside, and the Ifrit calling out, Nay, nay, and he called out, Aye, aye. Thereupon the evil spirit softened his voice and soothed his speech, and abased himself, saying, What wouldst thou do with me, O fisherman? I will throw thee back into the sea, he answered, where thou hast been housed and homed for 1,800 years, and now I will leave thee therein till judgment day. Did I not say to thee, Spare me, and Allah shall spare thee, and slay me not, lest Allah slay thee? Yet thou spurnedst my supplication, and hadst no intention save to deal ungraciously by me, and Allah hath now thrown thee into my hands, and I am cunninger than thou. Quoth the Ifrit, Open for me, and I may bring thee weal. Quoth the fisherman, Thou liest, thou accursed. My case with thee is that of the Wazir of King Yunnan with the sage Duban. Oh, so, okay, yeah, we skipped, I remember putting this together. Okay, so we skipped Payson altogether, and we about to go up this mountain, or this is where I was talking about how incredibly hot it is. And yeah, I think when we get to the bottom of the hill, the air temperature is like 113, 115 or something like that. And then I get over the hill and cruising into the Mesa area, And yeah, it's 100. Well, it was 118 and showing 120 on my DAS gauge. So yeah, here we go. And who? Okay, quoth Ifrit, open for me, and I will bring thee weal. Thou liest, thou cursed my case with thee. Okay, yeah. And who was the wazir of King Yunnan? And who was the sage Duba? And what was the story about them? Quoth the Ifrit. Whereupon the fishermen began to tell the tale. The tale of the wazir and the sage Duban. See, now, all this is going on while Shahrazad and her sister are sitting there, and she's telling these stories now, so that the king will get tired and go to sleep, and then he'll want to hear more of the story, and he'll have to wait till nighttime. So in the morning he won't be able to kill her. Man, she's smart. She's crafty little sucker. Okay, the tale of the wazir and the sage Duban. Know, O thou Ifrit, that in days of yore and in ages long gone before, a king called Yunnan reigned over the city of Fars of the land of the Rome. He was a powerful ruler and a wealthy, who had armies and guards and allies of all nations of men. But his body was afflicted with a leprosy, which leeches and men of science failed to heal. Oh yeah. So I think we picked it up right after Jake's Corner. Oh yeah, okay. See, I did a separate video just of going up this hill, and I just cut this clip out and went up the hill there. But boy, it gets hot. We'll see here. The gauges will come up here right away. Okay, so the leeches and the men of science could not heal his leprosy. He drank potions, and he swallowed powders, and he used unguents. Don't know that one. But naught did him good, and none among the host of physicians availed to procure him a cure. Oh, there we go. 113 degrees at the bottom of the hill. Yeah, bloody miserable is what it is. So, there you have it. And yeah, if you want to get all the lovely details of going up that hill, you can watch that other video. But right now, we just won't do the story. But naught did him any good. None of them doctors could procure him a cure. At last, there came to his city a mighty healer of men, and one well stricken in years, the sage Duban Eyes. This man was a reader of books, Greek, Persian, Roman, Arabian, and Syrian, and he was skilled in astronomy and in leechcraft. The theoric as well as the practic, he was experienced in all that healeth and that hurteth the body, conversant with the virtues of every plant, grass, and herb, and their benefit and bane. He understood philosophy and had compassed the whole range of medical science, other branches of knowledge of the tree, and other branches of the knowledge tree. Now, this physician passed but few days in the city, ere he heard of the king's malady and all his bodily sufferings,
through the leprosy with which Allah had smitten him, and how all the doctors and wise men had failed to heal him. Upon this he sat Upon this he sat up through the night in deep thought, and when broke the dawn and appeared the morn, and light was again born, and the sun greeted the good, whose beauties the world adorn, he donned his handsomest dress, and going into King Yunan, he kissed the ground before him. Then he prayed for the endurance of his honor and prosperity in fairest language, and made himself known, saying, O king, tidings have reached me of what befell thee through that which is in thy person, and how the host of physicians have proved themselves unavailing to abate it. And lo, I can cure thee, O king, and yet will I not make thee drink of draught, or anoint thee with ointment. Now, when the King Yunan heard these words, he said in huge surprise, How wilt thou do this? By Allah, if thou make me whole, I will enrich thee, even to thy son's son, and I will give thee sumptuous gifts, and whatso thou wishest shall be thine, and thou shalt be to me a cup, companion, and a friend.
Oh, so he gets to be the hand of the king. All right, yeah, we're going up the hill, and I can see that there's a guy in the way, so we, rather than set my vehicle overheating like you see so many of them on the side of the road here, I'll just tuck myself in behind him and chew on that 25 and 35 mile an hour thing for a while, and it'll be no problem. The king then robed him with a dress of honor and entreated him graciously and asked him, Canst thou indeed cure me of this complaint without drug and unguent? And he answered, Yes, I will heal I thee without the pains and penalties of medicine. Yes, I will heal I thee. See, sometimes, I don't know, there's a lot of misprints in here. And, yeah, the king marveled with exceeding marvel and said, O physician, when shall be this whereof thou speakest, and in how many days shall it take place? Hast 3, O my son? He replied, I hear and obey. The cure shall begin tomorrow. So saying, he went forth from the presence and hired himself a house in the city for the better storage of his books and scrolls, his medicines, and his aromatic roots. Then he set to work. See, that road is so rough, and a lot of that squeaking that you hear, I think, I've never been able to find it, but I can tell the difference between dash plastic, where it meets the windshield and goes up the sides. That thing just creaks and cracks like crazy. It's just a lot of plastic. But I think that woo sound is the blinds, because you can't see them, but they shake. Okay. Then he set to work at choosing the fittest drugs and simples, and he fashioned a bat hollow within. A bat hollow, huh? Okay. A bat hollow within. That's probably better. And furnished with a handle without, for which he made a ball, and 2 being prepared with consummate art. So he's making a bat and ball.
On the next day, when both were ready for use and wanted nothing more, he went up to the king and, kissing the ground between his hands, bade him ride forth on the parade ground, there to play at Paul and Maul. He was accompanied by his suite, emirs and chamberlains, wazirs and lords of the realm, and ere he was seated, the sage Dublin came up to him, and handing him the bat, said, "Take this maul, and grip it as I do, so. And now, push for the plain, and leaning well over thy horse, drive the ball with all thy might, until thy palm be moist, and thy body perspire. Then the medicine will penetrate through thy palm, and will permeate thy person. When thou hast done with playing, and thou feelest the effects of the medicine, return to thy palace, and make the crucial oblation in the Hammam bath, and lay there thee down to sleep. Thou shalt become whole, and now peace be with thee."
Oh, well, that was too easy. All right, we're on the downhill side already. We got the engine brake cooking. And, yeah. So let's see what that temperature says it is right now. 109 or something. What does that say? That says, no, I can't tell. But anyway, it's up there. And I'll flash that gauge view back in and around and every now and again, and you'll see just how horribly hot it gets. Coming into Mesa, oh boy, it just makes you not want to be there, that's for sure. How much do we got left? We don't got a lot left of this story here. Where are we at? We should wrap this sucker up. Dangerous malady, own steed. No. Thereupon the king took the bat. Oh, okay. Yeah, we got a brand new page here. Oh, okay. Here we go. There it is, guys. 120 degrees. I'm just outside of Fountain Hills. We're going to wrap this story up right here. We're just going to leave it right here. So, yeah. There we go. So he's supposed to play Pall Mall with this special bat that has medicine or something in it, and that's going to get rid of his leprosy. So we'll see how that goes. So that's about all for now, guys. Wow. All right. Let's take a look. Yeah, see, that's we coming in on Fountain Hills, and it's hot. Fountain Hills, and it's hot. What else is new? We're in Mesa, in the middle of summer. It's not even quite the middle yet. We're not even quite the middle yet. All right, guys. Thanks for riding along. We'll catch you in the next one. Oh, the Bush Highway. Yeah. Okay, see? There you go. I do know what I'm doing. All right. Samsy. And we'll leave you with a couple of minutes, seconds at least, of the big old Rosie doing her thing. You go, big Rosie. Do your thing now. Yeah, you kick. When she got old, she got arthritis real bad, and that was the only way she could run. If she'd lay on her back and she would just run, run, run. All right. I'll talk to you later, guys. Cheerio.